I'm going to ask everybody.
You guys bilateral?
Bilateral. You said bilateral?
If I remember.
Okay then. Shema?
Bilateral.
Bilateral, okay. Leah? You don't go bilateral? Okay then. I know, you left your notes. Okay then. Let's go back up to verse let's go back up to verse let's go back up to verse 12. We're going to start reading this. Go. Start reading that. Verse 12.
All right. Genesis 15 and 12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham.
A deep sleep fell upon who?
Abraham.
A deep sleep fell upon Abraham.
Right.
Go ahead.
And lo, and horror of great darkness fell upon him.
Horror and great darkness fell upon him.
Right. And he said unto Abraham, know of surety that your seed shall be a stranger.
Okay, do me one more favor, Robert, can you go back up to verse 9?
Verse 9. Genesis 15 and 9. And he said unto him, take thee an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcass, Abraham drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham. And lo, and horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And you shall go to your fathers in peace, and you shall be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces.
Stop right there. So, a smoking what?
Furnace.
Furnace did what? Pass between what?
Right.
The pieces.
Right.
So where was Abraham when all this was going on?
Yes.
Asleep. So I'm asking y'all one more time. Was this a bilateral covenant or unilateral?
So it will be unilateral.
Unilateral.
Right.
Go ahead.
So bilateral is a agreement between two people,
Uh-huh.
two entities, and is just one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you looked at the two people on it.
Yeah.
But one of them is asleep, right?
Yeah.
So if Abraham had been awake, would not he have been required to walk those
Right.
pieces as well? He would have. But remember, not all covenants are bilateral. Some are unilateral. And you'll see some of the unilateral covenants or with Yahuah. They all rest on the word of Yahuah himself. So, okay, go
So
ahead.
it started off as a bilateral covenant, and then became unilateral because it went to sleep.
Right, it never was going to be a bilateral covenant from the get-go. It was always going to be a unilateral covenant. Because he was making promises to Abraham, and this particular covenant is what? Unconditional. No matter what the nation of Yashra'al do, this covenant stands. Now, what we have to look at is the two pieces of meat. in order for there to be 2 pieces of meat, what will have had to have happened? Say it again. Right, it would have to have been cut. So if it was cut or divided, split twain, that be what would have had to take place.
Somebody passed through.
Think about the meat. Where would this meat have come from?
One of the sacrifices.
One of the sacrifices. Good, I'm glad you said that. Keep that in mind. One of the sacrifices. What has to take place for a sacrifice though? A death.
Bloodshed.
Bloodshed. A death. A death is required. So, there's a sacrifice. Death is required. One individual was sleep. But was this covenant for this individual or for his seed? He's the recipient of the covenant, but it's the covenant is for what? The promise is to the seed. Now, who or what was the burning lamp that walked these pieces? Say it again. Yahusha. He was going to be what? The death or the sacrifice that would be required to do what? To restore the seed. Because guess what was going to happen to Abraham's seed? What happened to Abraham? Come on, you just read it. Y'all, what was Abraham doing when Mashiyach was walking these pieces?
Sleeping.
He was sleeping. What would happen to the nation of Yashra'al?
They was asleep.
They were asleep. They would fall into a slumber or sleep. And how were they going to waken up out of that condition or that sleep?
Prophet.
Huh?
Prophet.
The prophet or who? Yahusha. That's why it was he, at the time, it was Yahusha that walked the pieces. His death, he was the piece. Matter of fact, the whole story is about him. He would be the sacrifice. He will walk the covenant. And he will also be the one to what? To wake his people out of that slumber or that sleep. Doesn't oftentimes he talks about before Moses or Abraham, I was? Why is he referring back to Abraham? Because he was the one there. He walked the covenant. Because everything rests upon his word. With this covenant, everything rests upon the words of Yahuah and his promises. I don't care what the nation of Yashra'al does. This covenant can never go away. Because it wasn't resting on the nation of Yashra'al. It wasn't resting on Abraham or his seed. It's resting on the Father. Okay. Let's go over to Bereshit or Genesis 17. Genesis 17, verse 1 through 21. You read? Okay, appreciate that. I wanted to ask you, but I know.
That's cool, huh? All right, Bereshit 17, KJV. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, Yahuah appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am Almighty Elohim, walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abraham fell on his face, and Elohim talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham.
Stop right there. Now, from what our brother here just read, what have you gleaned or picked up from just those verses right there?
I was going to say, with the Most High saying, my.
You must be in my head, man. You notice he keeps talking about my covenant,
Not our, right?
not our covenant, my covenant. Go ahead, I keep thinking.
All right. For a father of many nations have I made thee, and I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant, between me and thee, and thy seed after thee, and their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be an Elohim unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their Elohim. And Elohim said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep, between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
Very key. Every what?
Male child.
Every male child shall be what?
Circumcised.
So we see right here, circumcision is attached to what?
Covenant.
The Abrahamic covenant. Very important. Because you remember we did a study, we were talking about how many times, I know I have ran into some of our Muslim brothers who they feel like Ishmael is the firstborn and Ishmael is the covenant child, and that Ishmael was cheated out of the covenant. But what we have to understand that this is the importance of the Abraham covenant and circumcision. When it comes to the Abrahamic covenant, what we always should keep in mind is circumcision is attached to the Abrahamic covenant. So I had to explain to a Muslim brother of mine that when Ishmael was born, yeah, true, Ishmael was 13 years older than Isaac. He was by nature or in the natural, he was the firstborn of Abraham's seed. But the problem is, it's the covenant. It is the covenant. And the key thing to understanding what's going on with Abraham and with Isaac, we also should go back to Jacob, Esau. You can go back to Ephraim and Manasseh. When you see there are two sons present, you will always see that the second son is called what? The firstborn. Everything goes with the second child. The covenant goes with the second child. Even when you go back to when we see what Isaac and Ishmael. Now, it would have been impossible for Ishmael to be the covenant child. One reason is that circumcision, or this covenant, or the Abrahamic covenant, circumcision is attached. When Isaac was born, and when Ishmael was born, when Abraham went into Sarah and conceived Ishmael, he was not circumcised. When Abraham went into Hagar, what did I say at first? I'm sorry. When Abraham went into Hagar and conceived Ishmael, he was not circumcised at that time. When Abraham went into Sarah and conceived Isaac, he was circumcised. And that's the key to understanding what's going on with that and why Ishmael, being the oldest son from Hagar, not being the recipient of the firstborn or the inheritance that will go to the firstborn. He went to Isaac, Isaac being the youngest son, but Isaac was the child of the covenant. He was circumcised when he went into Sarah and conceived Isaac. So that's the understanding we want to have with it. That shows you the importance of circumcision was the Abrahamic covenant. From the Abrahamic covenant, you will see at this time with Abraham, before the nation of Yashra'al is even set up as a nation, and from that time forward, what do you see from this moment moving all the way forward through every covenant? Circumcision. Okay. Now let's look at something else. So what we see here is, like our brother Divine said, you see the Most High, he's very possessive throughout this whole passage. It's about my covenant, me, and you. It goes to show you this covenant is unilateral all the way through. It's unconditional because the promises in the covenant is not up to Israel. It's up to the Most High, his word. That's why he put Abraham to sleep. That's why he walked the pieces. Because of his word, he's going to have to be what? The one that resurrects this people or this nation who is going to what? In the future fall asleep. He's going to be the sacrifice, and it's going to be his life that's going to be required to bring about their what? Restoration and their redemption. So what we're going to do a little later on, we're going to start going back to some of these stories and stuff in these passages, and we're going to look at intricate details and take these stories and examine them, and you'll see that Mashiyach fulfills every little intricate part of each story. I don't care what we're reading, he's fulfilling it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I tell people that if you want to tell me that the Mashiyach is not real and you want to go non-Messianic, the first thing I tell people, anybody tell me that, the first thing you let me know, you really don't have an understanding of Torah. There's no way in the world you can understand Torah and say that the Messiah doesn't exist. I'm just not buying it. You would have to show me that, because everywhere you say you don't see him, I'm going to show you where he is. And in living color at that. He fulfills everything. Every little intricate part, every detail is about him. And it's not till you're able to see. Do what he said, Lord, come in the volume of the book. He said, what you read is written of me. So if he makes that statement, we need to be able to go back and look, and let's see, can we find him in everything we read. He's like ragu. When it says in there, he's in there. Right. Believe that. So let's go. How much time I got? Five minutes. Okay then. Let's go look at Bereshit of Genesis 22, and let's read verse 15 through 18.
I'll read it.
Thank you.
Yep. And the Malach of Yahuah called unto Abraham out of Shamayim the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith Yahuah, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt in Beersheba. You going?
Oh no, you good right there. Now, what was he actually talking about right here? And who was his only son?
That's the question.
Who was his only son? Now, remember when we said that Mashiyach comes in the volume of the book, it's already, who was Abraham's only begotten son? But I'm talking about out of the two. You notice Ishmael was older than Isaac. But you know he's talking about Isaac here, right? But what had just taken place here?
Attempted sacrifice of his son.
An attempted sacrifice. Now who was being sacrificed?
only son.
The only son. Y'all ever notice that Isaac carried his wood to be sacrificed on? Did not Mashiyach take his wood to be sacrificed on? Isaac was going to be sacrificed at Mount Moriah. Mashiyach was sacrificed at Mount Moriah. Do we see the parallel? Remember he said, lo, I come in the volume of the book? Now we can even go further into that story too now. There's a lot of intricate details that Mashiyach brings out in that. But the thing is, to get you to see that everything we're reading, even with these covenants, the things that are being fulfilled, they are all pictures of the Mashiyach fulfilling these things on behalf of the nation of Yashra'al. That's why all the covenants are important. So we're going from the Adamic to the Noahic covenant to the Abrahamic covenant. You see so far that none of the covenant has not changed. He just keep adding a little something to it. It's the same covenant that was established with Adam. But now he just added to that covenant. He was passed Adam to Noah. From Noah to who? Abraham. The covenant is still the same original covenant. He's just adding to the covenant. He just adds to them. Okay. So, question again. Who are the participants in this covenant? Abraham and Yahuah, thank you. And y'all looked at me then like that was a trick question. Abraham and Yahuah. So, as we read through these passages, we should have gleaned a little something. So what were the provisions of that covenant? The provisions of that covenant. The first provision, and we're going to stop after this. The first provision of the covenant was that through Abraham's obedience and within this covenant, his seed, or he would become what? A great nation. And Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Come on, let's give you a hand. Hallelujah.